Hello and welcome back to the Doctor's Garage. So today I'm with my Defender, and in this video I'm going through every single thing I've done to my car, from the front, the back, to the side. I'm going to be looking at the engine, looking at the interior, and telling you every single modification I've done to make this car look like this from a stock Defender. So if you're interested in getting some tips and tricks about where I've got certain parts from, how I've done certain bits on the car, watch this video. So let's take a look around the car at some of the things that I fitted to the car. So we'll start with the lower back. Here we've got Cooper STT Pro tyres. I'll put the size in the description below. These are Land Rover Boost alloys, just sprayed in black to match the rest of the car. These tyres are mud terrains, but I think for me they are the best looking tyre for a Defender. Quite an aggressive tread pattern, but actually really comfortable on the road. You don't really get too much road noise from them, surprisingly. You don't get too much road noise from them, surprisingly. Inside here, we've got Brit part shocks and springs. I need to get them sorted out. This is a 2-inch lift kit as well, but I'd like to give something a bit more comfortable than this because they're quite clunky when you're driving around. Thinking actually going for the Alive tuning set for that. Now, onto here, these are the arches. These are sprayed gloss black to match everything else on the car, the gloss black roof and things like that. Now, one tip about these is make sure if you're going to do this, keep the original Land Rover ones. They're the best fit and they look the best in my opinion. Over time they end up sagging in the middle, so what I did is I actually ended up having to find 4 individual arches that were straight from breakers yards before getting them resprayed, just so they all look the same and they all look good. So that's one tip really, is not to go for the aftermarket ones, because I don't think they look as good or fit as good as these do, the original ones. Moving up the car, the rear window, this was a van back originally, so this has been cut in. It was actually cut in by the previous owner. He went a little bit wide in some aspects, as you can probably see there. But I've done the back windows, are cut out, as I've done another video, but for these, they were done before I had it. They were clear though, and I've had them tinted limo black, which I think matches the rest of the car when you walk around. It definitely suits it being black. The front windows I got done at a 70% tint, just to give it a little bit of an edge too. So that's pretty much that aspect. When we look at the roof, this is a gloss black roof. Originally when I bought the car, it was wrapped matte black and it started to peel off and fraying, and so I took everything off. It was actually a white roof underneath, and I got it sprayed gloss black because I think it matched the rest of the car. Some days I regret that decision and maybe should have left it white as the original, but I think when I had everything else black like this, it just needs to be black to match the rest of the car. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Was that the right decision? Should it have been black? Should it have been white? I'm not so sure, but I think for now, it's a good look throughout. Moving on to fronts here, we've got Land Rover arms. These are standard Land Rover wing mirror arms, and then these are Uni-Truck mirrors. They're all right when they're bent in like this. They don't blow around too much, but when you go fast, sometimes they bend inwards, and it's something I need to sort out. Thinking of going for the Optimil mirror set here, because I think it's a bit stronger and just looks a little smarter. I have color coded and sprayed these myself, Keswick green, the same color as the car, because I think it looks quite nice as a color coded finish. It's a really easy job to do yourself. You can take the mirror head off, take the back off and just respray it. Moving on to this part here, so these are the hinges. I actually got a new set of hinges for the front because mine were kind of rusty in the middle, and I've replaced them with the stainless steel bolt set as well, that will be in the description below. And that was actually a really good modification because it just tidied up the hinges so much doing that. The other thing is obviously the little stickers. I've got new TD5 badging, and obviously the British flags as well that are new, that I fitted to the side of the truck here. They're available, like I say, in the bottom. I think they were eBay or Amazon for those. Same again with the side vent. That was a gloss black side vent that I bought online, and I think just looks quite good with the rest of the gloss black features. Moving on to the front wing, smoked LED side repeaters, look really cool, just blend in with the Keswick green really nicely. And again, we've already talked about the tyre and wheel setup on the back. So moving up here at this part of the car, we've got some stainless steel vent pins, which just tidy up again because they were quite rusty. And also bonnet screws as well are all stainless, and originally were the original ones, which were rusted and seized up and a bit of a mess really. And I know people are going to say, look, stainless, you're going to get this metallic reaction and it's going to be worse for your car. But I think that takes a long time in my opinion. So I've done it, and so far I've had them in for a year, haven't seen any problems at all, and we'll have to see how we go. Again, let me know in the comments below. Is that the right thing to do? I'm not so sure. I'm no expert, but I think it looks good being stainless, as you can see on all these fixtures and fittings around the car. The next thing are these wingtop vents. So I had these resprayed gloss black. These were like a matte black before. You probably see they're a bit dirty, but they were sprayed gloss black, and I think that's quite a nice finish for the rest of the car too. Let's go round to the front of the car and see what we've done here. So round the front, couple of things. As it's a TD5 and got the flat bonnet, it doesn't normally have the lettering on here. Normally just have a sticker, and I put this lettering on, which is what the Pumas have, and for me I think it looks good. I didn't want to change the bonnet, but I did want to put the lettering on there, so bought that online, and came with a template to get it matched up straight, which was quite easy to do. And then talking about the grille set, this is all a KBX grille set that was originally on the car when I bought it, and I've gone on about it in a few videos ago that I'm not so sure about the grille. I am going to change this for a mesh grille. I think it will look a little better, but that's work in progress. Now, all the lights in the grille set themselves, these are Bearmax smoked LEDs, and I've been really happy with them. They work amazingly well. I've done a whole full light upgrade on this car. The standard lights are awful, and I'm not so keen on the coloured lights like the orange and the red at the back, so I've gone all for clear smoked, which I think suits the look of this car. It's not a very traditional looking Defender, and some people will not like that if you're very much into your traditional original cars, but for me this is exactly what I wanted mine to look like. Moving on to the lights, I did not fit these myself, but these are halo lights, and I'll show you them with the car on in a minute, but they're halo LEDs, and the halogens as well, so they're really bright. You get a lot of illumination on the roads for them. I don't have any other accessory lighting on the car. As I mentioned, it's more a road going Defender rather than an off-road one, and for me these lights work perfectly well, obviously for all the stainless fixings here throughout like the rest of the Defender. And moving on down here, we have a new part that I fitted, which is the ORE steering guard, and that's why you've got these little toe eyelets here. Absolutely love this piece of gear. It's really solid, and I've just done a video fitting that. Super easy to fit if you don't get it all wrong like I did in one of the first videos I did about it, and end up causing myself a lot of trouble. But the ORE steering guards are brilliant. I think all the ORE gear, to be honest, as a British made product, is really solid, really well made. And actually ORE have been kind enough to offer my watchers a discount. If you're interested in the ORE steering guard or the wheel carrier or any of the other parts that they do, the code is TDG, the Doctor's Garage. Put that in at checkout and you get a discount off any ORE products that you're buying for your Defender, which is really good of them to do that. So let's now head out to the back of the car, and I'll show you around the back and the things that I've done to it here. So when I got this car, it didn't have, I'll start at the top, it didn't have any windows in the side panels here because it was a vanback. It just had the rear door window. And I cut these out myself using a template and a jigsaw, and then bought the kit from, I'm not sure exactly where it was, but in the description below it will be there, and cut it out and sealed it myself. Looks complicated, sounds scary, cutting the back of your car apart, but actually it was really easy to do, and it looks really smart. It looks pretty factory, to be honest. So if you're thinking of doing that and you're looking at buying a Defender that is a vanback, don't be scared about cutting your own windows out, because it really isn't that big of a job. So when you look at the back, it's had the limo tint throughout the back, as I've mentioned, which matches the gloss black roof and the black wheel on the back. Hinge wise, these are new hinges that I've resprayed Keswick and then put the stainless bolts in again throughout the car, there and there, and they just tidy things up massively, having new hinges and just respraying them. And again, respraying any parts of this car is quite easy when you get into doing it and practice a little bit, and that's what I did for most of this car if I've touched things up. Moving on to the lighting sets at the back, so these are Bearmax smoke LEDs, much like they were at the front, and the reverse and fog as well are both Bearmax LED, and they're clear, which I quite like. And then all this badging set as well, just refreshed it and upgraded it and bought some new gear from online. I think it was Amazon or eBay. Again, it will be in the links below if you want to buy any parts like that. So Cooper STT Pro tyre and the Boost alloy, as I've mentioned. Now there is a monster 4x4 wheel carrier on the back door. However, this squeaks so much at the moment because it's quite a heavy tyre and wheel setup. I am looking at getting a wheel carrier, probably the ORE one, just to fit an arm on the back, because I've heard so many good things about them, and actually that will help take the squeak off the door. But also I'm worried at some point these hinges are going to give way with the weight of that as it sort of bangs up and down as I'm driving along. So I need to get that sorted. Moving on this side of the car, pretty much the same with the light setup. The only difference is this is a new LED number plate light, and I took the block off as well, because if you know, on Defenders they have a block and then the light point, and I actually took the block out to just put the light fitting on in this gloss black, and I think it just looks a bit neater. It's a bit more slimline to the back of the car and just looks a bit better overall. And I'm moving down on the car. Probably the worst part of Defenders whenever you're buying them or getting them, even to be fair, when they were nearly new, is the rear cross member. And the rear cross member always gets loads of surface rust on it if you're lucky and it's not deeper than that. So when I bought mine, it was rusty and it just looked horrible, and it always ruins the look of your Defender. So for me, I completely took this back down to metal and resurfaced it, resprayed it, used a lot of the Buzzwell products for this, and that was brilliant. It's given a really good finish. It's lasted a year so far, and it still looks like new, to be fair, so I'm really pleased with that. I think it looks great. Mud flaps, I got some new mud flaps. I wasn't going to originally, but what happened is I was towing something with this car, and one of the mud flaps somehow got caught in the wheel, which I think is a problem with Defenders sometimes if you're towing big items, and it got all chewed up. So it was a good excuse to get new mud flaps. They're factory standard mud flaps, and I think it just tidies up the back of a Defender when you have them on. The other thing I've done here is put the towing system on, and did all the tow electrics as well, which was a nice addition if you are towing things, and the rear step. So the rear step isn't a factory part, but to be honest, no one would ever know. It's just a step at the end of the day, and that'll be in the description below too if you want to do that. I just like the look of a step, and it helps people get in and out of the car. Considering this is a 2-inch lift kit, it can be a little difficult. One of the biggest things I've done to this car is had it remapped. So this is a stage 2 remapped car, which obviously doesn't look any different from the outside, but it does have the upgraded Alive tuning intercooler and the Alive stage 2 remap, which I'm honestly going to say has made the biggest difference to the car. Just driving a TD5 normally is not very fun, but when you have it remapped, this now puts out 192 brake horsepower and 400 newton meters of torque. It makes such a difference when you're driving around in the car. So for me, getting a stage 2 remap, and I can't recommend Alive tuning highly enough. They're a great bunch of guys, did a really good job with this car. I had it dynoed, they made sure it was tuned safely, and actually it drives just so much better now. So Alive tuning is where I'd go if you want to get it remapped, and I would highly recommend that if you're buying a TD5 or any Defender really, just to bring it to life a little bit more, help you keep up with traffic. It just makes it a bit better of a drive. And we're doing a video soon on what it's like living with a remap, because I only had it done about a month ago. Now let's take a look inside, and I'll talk to you about some of the interior changes I've done to this car. So when we look inside Defenders, they look pretty sparse in general, but mine was really bad inside originally. So I actually soundproofed a lot of this car. So I did silent coat and then dodo matting, and I've done a video on that too if you want to check that out. And then I did an Exmoor trim carpet set throughout the interior, including the leather gaiter, and that just made a big difference to the inside. Makes it much more comfortable to drive in, and it just looks a lot fresher and a lot newer. The seats I've got in here are Exmoor trim. I didn't put them in. I really hate this Land Rover logo on here. I'm just not a big fan of this, but I do really like the seats because they're really comfortable. So I'm thinking of getting these retrimmed, or maybe getting some new seats. I don't know what to go for. Again, if you guys have got any good suggestions, drop them in the comments below. But I think I love the seats. I hate this thing, and this is what originally it was like. The cubby box is a random cubby box. I'm not really sure where that's from, but again, I could do with a higher one that matches the seats when I decide on what I'm going for there. Other than that, it's pretty standard in here. Again, this steering wheel didn't fit. I've been told it's a Montney steering wheel, not a Momo steering wheel like I thought it was originally. So I want a new one of them, but I haven't got around to it yet. It's next on the list. It's also got an upgraded speaker system, which someone has done before me. It actually works quite well, quite happy with that. And it's also got Bluetooth connectivity and hands-free, which is quite handy in a Defender. Although you can't hear much when you get past around 30 miles per hour. At least it's there if you need to answer a phone call and you're going slowly. So that's pretty much inside. I'll just talk about the roof liner. This was originally the same roof liner that came with the car. It was absolutely filthy though, so I took it off, actually carpet shampooed it and got it really clean quite delicately, but now it's just a lot newer, doesn't smell smoke, is much better. I don't have one for the back because, like I say, this was a van back. I put a bit of silent coat on there, you can probably see. It's not doing a lot, probably need a bit more on there, and ideally need a back roof liner too. So let's take a look in the back. I'll show you what we've got going on in there so we can see what I've done. So in the back, again, I've actually done quite a lot of soundproofing in here, so there's a lot of rubber matting, as you can probably see, on the floor here, dodo matting and other matting, but pretty solid now, doesn't vibrate the same. Again, that's Dodo liner all on that piece there, just to help reduce the sound. And yeah, pretty much nothing else in here. I do have rear seats to face forward, hence the seat belts, but they're not in at the moment because I'm trying to get all this sorted and then carpeted eventually. So that is the plan. And this is what it looks like from the inside. If people are interested what the tint looks like, it's actually pretty decent. You don't worry about being able to see out, even though you can't see much when you're from the outside. From the inside, you wouldn't really know that you're in a tinted car. That's pretty much all the external upgrades. That's the engine upgrade, the stage 2 remap and the intercooler it's got from a live tuning, and also the interior parts I've done to it. So anything I've talked about, I will try and put in the description below, just so you can reference it and see where I've got it from. And in case you want the same, at least it's there for you to have a look at. So next things I want to do to this car, I need to sort something out with the ride quality. So it doesn't really need to be a 2-inch lift kit for me on this car. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really go off-roading it that much. It's more of a road-going Defender for me, despite the mud terrain tyres. So I'm going to get this to normal height probably, and I'm thinking of going for the Alive tuning suspension upgrade and the Fox shock upgrade set. So let me know what you think of those bits of gear. If you've got any experience with the Fox shocks or had them in your car, again, comment them below. Let me know what you guys think I should go for on this car. So I hope you've enjoyed that video and it's been a useful insight into what I've put on my car. Anything I've mentioned, I've pretty much put in the description below if you want to get any of it yourself for your Defender. If you haven't already, please click subscribe, give me a thumbs up, let me know what you think of this video in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next video.